Coming up next on Good Morning El Paso, new video this morning of the moments before El Chapo Guzman escaped from that prison cell. Prison authorities unaware his pacing was unusually seconds before he gave them the slip.
Also, a deal has been made, but what's expected in the months ahead for the nuclear accord between the United States and Iran?
To be able to get 158 students tested is pretty remarkable.
And more El Pasoans have a positive test for tuberculosis this morning in 2 different locations. What parents of students testing positive need to know.
Live, where news comes first. From the Mesilla Valley and Las Cruces to El Paso and the borderland. This is ABC 7's Good Morning El Paso.
A very good morning to El Paso, Las Cruces, and Juarez. I'm Stephanie Valle.
And I'm Hillary Floren. Good morning, everyone. It is 6:01 right now. Time to get started in this hour of Good Morning El Paso.
Yes, and Crystal is already tracking our forecast and tracking some changes this morning, Crystal.
Yeah, it's been kind of a busy morning because we have some action on our radar, which is always a fun start as long as it's not any danger. And we're not looking danger. We're just looking at some rain out there. Right now, the rain is focused right near the boot hill of New Mexico and the border of Arizona and New Mexico. In that area, those storms we've been talking about, they are starting to meet up and head to Silver City. So that's the direction these storms are moving right now. There's some scattered thunderstorms in that area of rain. We're also looking just to the south of El Paso, that line of thunderstorms. Now, here's what we were worried about happening. It's starting to happen a little bit. It's separating a tad, which means some of these showers might start to move off into the southern tip of El Paso County and Hudspeth County, and some of these stronger thunderstorms may actually creep just to the west of El Paso into southern Doñana County. They still have to hold tight all the way through this area to make it on into town, but we've got those slight chances of rain this morning as a result of what we have our eye on. Here are some of our temperatures right now. These are our weather net sites sponsored by Mattress Firm. We're at 71 degrees at the New Mexico Farm and Ranch Museum and 75 at Mountain View High School. Almost at 80 now, Loma Terrace Elementary School. These temperatures still going to be warming into the 90s, and we still have chances of rain come this afternoon, evening. We'll look at those chances in a few minutes.
All right, thanks so much, Crystal. New developments this morning in the manhunt for escaped drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. The Mexican government has fired several prison officials now, acknowledging the wanted kingpin must have had help from authorities to complete that elaborate underground escape. ABC's Brandy Hitt has the very latest on this story that is still developing now.
You're looking at new video showing the last time prison officials saw powerful drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Guzman just moments before his escape. As the manhunt intensifies for Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, a nearly $4 million reward is now being offered to capture the dangerous kingpin who escaped from this maximum security prison.
Tuvo que haber contado.
The fugitive must have had help from personnel or officials from the prison, said Mexico's Interior Minister, announcing the firing of 3 top prison officials. ABC News has also learned El Chapo's sophisticated escape plan was at least 6 months in the making. This mile-long, lit and ventilated tunnel leading directly from his prison cell to this newly constructed home.
In 6-7 meses, 6 to 7 months, that house was built.
Officials say El Chapo is responsible for tens of thousands of deaths by drug overdoses and murders, with his empire spanning the globe and infiltrating 76 major U.S. cities.
Offer the full support of the United States government to the Mexican government and to try to recapture Mr. Guzman.
The last time El Chapo escaped from prison, he had the resources to hide for 13 years. The Associated Press also says DEA officials obtained intel last year that he may be planning another escape. But government officials in Mexico claim they were never informed. Brandy at ABC News, Los Angeles. It's taken years of intense diplomacy to get around to the negotiating table and many months more to work out this nuclear deal. But the fight is not over yet. But celebrations continue on the streets of Iran. The crowd's hopeful for a better future after negotiators announced they had finally struck a historic nuclear deal. Now, the basic outline is that Iran will voluntarily cut back most of its nuclear activities for the next decade and submit to constant international inspections. In return, the U.S. and its allies will lift the sanctions that have crippled Iran's economy. We'll have more about what the critics are saying about the deal coming up in just a bit right here on Good Morning El Paso.
It took NASA a spacecraft there nearly a decade to reach Pluto. Happening today, we could be seeing some of the best images of the dwarf planet to date. Good morning, El Paso's Denise Olivas is live with those details. Denise?
Good morning, Hillary. The New Horizons spacecraft was launched in 2006. Now, in order to focus on studying Pluto, the probe stopped sending messages to Earth while the spacecraft passed by the planet. Now we are just waiting for those images from NASA. New Horizons has traveled more than 9 years, covering more than 3 billion miles to reach Pluto. Launched January 19, 2006, the piano-sized spacecraft is the first to visit the icy world discovered more than 80 years ago. In 1994, the Hubble Space Telescope snapped images of Pluto, but it has been more than 20 years of technological advancements since, so the images we see today, likely the best ones yet. Well, closer to home here in El Paso, Corey Stone, the manager of EPISD's planetarium, talked to ABC7 about the meaning of this mission.
Places like Pluto and its moon Charon and all of its other moons, as well as the other dwarf planets in the Kuiper Belt way past Neptune, are objects that are billions of years old, that are literally deep freeze preserving the original particles of our solar system. Learning about them can tell us much about the development of the Earth and the other planets of our solar system, as well as us.
Well, Pluto was discovered by Las Cruces astronomer Clyde Tombaugh. It takes 4 hours for New Horizons to send data back to Earth, so NASA expects to release those images this afternoon. Hillary, back to you.
All right, thanks, Denise. And now to our complete coverage of the tuberculosis testing going on right here in El Paso. More El Pasoans have a positive test now for tuberculosis this morning in 2 different locations.
Even if your child plays with one of those children that were tested positive, it is not possible to transmit the infection to other children.
Another 13 people tested positive for TB at Frank Macias Elementary School. All 13 are school staff, so that makes 51 positive cases at the Horizon City School just east of El Paso. And the health department tells us none of those who are testing positive are showing symptoms right now of active TB. But more testing is needed here, including chest x-rays. If those tests do come back normal, it's a case of latent TB, which can be treated in 12 weeks with antibiotics. The health department also released the TB test results from a central El Paso halfway house. Dismas Charities is on the 7,000 block of Alameda near Ascarity Park. They say 200 adults have been identified there as possibly being exposed to an active case of TB at the facility. So far, 137 residents were tested, 38 staff as well. 155 are negative and 20 are positive. 42 still need to be tested. Our complete coverage continues online. Just go to KVIA.com. There you'll find a video explaining exactly what TB is and how it's spread. You can click on the tuberculosis image.
And it's 6:08 and we're taking a look at our TxDOT traffic cameras over at Yarborough and I-10. You can see that there are more cars on the road, but it does look like things are moving along pretty smoothly considering there has been a lot of traffic and construction in that area later in the morning.
And we have a lot more to come right here on Good Morning El Paso today.
After negotiators emerged victorious, there is still more to be done in this deal with Iran.
And later, aside from national security, there are other reasons we should care about the deal with Iran. We'll explain that coming up after the break, and our pocketbook's a good place to start, right?
Yes, and also we are talking about our forecast, and meteorologist Crystal Cly has your detailed forecast. Crystal.
It does include that chance of rain in the forecast. How much rain might we pick up if those storms hit us? We'll talk about it after your break.
Thanks, Crystal. This is ABC7, where news comes first.